Welcome back to my channel. Today, I will talk to you about the intricacies of growing cucumbers in pots. Growing cucumbers in pots is a task that requires attention and care. Cucumbers need a lot of vertical space as they grow. There are also cucumber varieties that require less height. As you can see here, I've tightened the string upwards and I will allow the cucumber to comfortably wrap around it. I will also show you the wrapping process again in this video. There are also cucumber varieties that require less height. You can grow cucumbers that need support with stakes. The most important point of growing cucumbers in pots. It's a continuously moist, warm, and nutrient-rich soil mix. As you can see right now, it has slightly drooped its leaves. Why? Because the weather is a bit warm. The plant needs water, and you shouldn't let it go without water. I constantly support this with drip irrigation. I water it directly when the top of the soil is slightly dry. So water it generously. Just let the water flow from the bottom. There must be a hole at the bottom of the pot. Now, here are the cucumber seedlings that I had previously germinated. I will carefully take these out. There are 2 seedlings because there's 1 in each cell. I need to separate them without damaging their roots. The seeds I used to produce these seedlings are hybrid or F1 seeds are not. I have a friend in Yalova. I got it from him. He grows cucumbers and continues to produce every year with his own heirloom seeds. Okay, it may not be as productive as other hybrid seeds, but in the end, since heirloom seeds are their own seeds, I will get cucumbers from these seedlings. I can easily plant the seeds again next year and get a harvest. I have a video about hybrid F1 seeds on my channel. I recommend you to watch it. Now let's get to our pot. You should use a pot that is at least 30 centimeters in diameter and depth. Cucumbers love water, but just like with every plant, too much water can damage the roots of cucumbers. For this reason, the bottom of the pot must definitely have a hole. Just like with every seedling, I will use cinnamon powder when planting this seedling, because it is beneficial for growth and keeps rodents away. As I mentioned earlier, the bottom of the pot must definitely have a hole. Just like with every plant, too much water can damage the roots of cucumbers. The other one is important. One point is your pot. If it has been used before, make sure to wash the soap with water and rinse it. If unseen insect eggs and bacteria are not cleaned, they can harm your cucumber. First, I will plant 4 seedlings in this pot. Later on, these seedlings will decrease. I'm sprinkling cinnamon powder on the roots of each one and planting my seedlings. When it comes to our soil, use a mixture that is not too compact, allows water to drain easily, and contains organic materials that will provide the necessary nutrients for the plant. The pot, soil, and perlite mix you get from the florist will do the job for you. Definitely do not use garden soil. It may contain bacteria and insect eggs. You can also use a natural fertilizer mix. The fertilizer recipe linked above will definitely be very helpful for you. After planting our 4th seedling, we can move on to the watering process. We're not pressing the soil too hard. To avoid damaging the roots, we have regularly planted 4 seedlings in a pot that is at least 30 centimeters wide. Water. We're pouring their first water onto our soil. At first, I'm pouring it slowly to prevent the soil from collapsing. But later, I will soak this soil quite a bit. I want the roots and the soil to be thoroughly soaked. Excess water will come out through the hole at the bottom. The soil should be completely and visibly moist. Remember, cucumbers love moisture and warm soil. I'm putting straw around this seedling too, because the straw will prevent the soil from drying out. After spreading the straw completely over the soil, I'm soaking it again to keep its moisture. 2 weeks later, our cucumbers are now ready to be wrapped. As I said, I wrapped my string from the ceiling down. I tied it around the pot, and now we will wrap our cucumber on the trellis. I want to mention that the pot needs to get plenty of sunlight, so make sure to place it in a spot that gets plenty of sunlight. It should get at least 8 hours of sunlight a day. Cucumbers grow in warm weather. They grow in suitable conditions. Extra sunlight helps keep the soil in a suitable and warm condition. As you may have noticed, I planted 4 seedlings in the pot. Right now there are 2 seedlings. Why seedlings? 2. When the row of leaves open, leave the 2 tallest seedlings in the pot. Separate the others. When the seedlings reach a height of 20-25 centimeters, thin them out to just 1. But I didn't thin them out to just 1, because my pot is sufficient. I have a pretty big pot. Both cucumbers will have enough strength. The seedling left in the pot should be the longest and strongest one. In my previous videos, I showed how to wrap a tomato seedling around a string. In the same way, we carefully wrap the cucumber around the string. The thin things you see are already on the branches. They will wrap themselves around the string. Over time, this will help it grow upwards. You'll get healthy cucumbers. Wrap it carefully. Don't pick it. Be careful. That's why I chose the cool weather. If you do it in cool weather, it will be more efficient. I'm especially emphasizing the soil again. If the soil on the surface looks dry, it's time to water again. As you can see here, I keep it constantly moist with drip irrigation. Give enough water to the mature plants. Anyway, excess water will flow out of the hole at the bottom of the pot. Make sure the soil never dries out. Because dry soil, it prevents the cucumber from growing, and it causes a bitter crop to form. Here, I'm carefully wrapping our second cucumber. As their lengths increase, even if it doesn't wrap around the rope and lies sideways, make sure to carefully wrap it around the rope again. This drip water I'm talking about is already flowing from this tap. You can find the drip water in my other videos. In my video about practical ways to water your plants while on vacation, you'll find tips. Now let's move on to the pruning process of our cucumber. So what you see here, cucumbers. Among the cucumbers that have bloomed, look, we're taking the shoot from the fork side, just like with the tomatoes. I'm also going to take this flower you see next to me, because not all flowers on a cucumber produce fruit. It's not like a tomato. Here, the male and female organs are in the same flower for tomatoes, but in cucumbers it's different. Some flowers do not produce fruit because they are not pollinated. Here, we will also remove the shoot across so that the cucumbers can develop properly. We use gloves again while doing this process. We are trying to tear off those shoots with a single move so that the wound can close as quickly as possible. We did the same process with the tomatoes. Pruning and wrapping on a trellis. That's also in the video. You can watch that too. Look, I will also remove this shoot from here. I'm carefully breaking it off. This cucumber, which will support its development, will gradually grow anyway. Some cucumbers are already developing very strongly. I will mention it shortly. Now let's talk about how the cucumber we will take seeds from will look. We're collecting all the small shoots. If new ones form again on the branches that will rise later. As you can see, remove these small shoots in the same way and give your plant some relief. After the weather cools down a bit more, the leaves start to perk up nicely. Look, I'm saying it again. Definitely don't leave them without water. The cucumber and a light breeze can be good for the cucumbers. It shouldn't be in a place that gets a lot of wind. Choose a sheltered spot that doesn't get strong winds and receives sunlight. Now, how do we get seeds from these cucumbers? Or rather, from which product should we collect seeds? I'll talk about it. I will tell you how to get and store the seeds in my next videos. Now, dear While I explain how to collect seeds from the cucumber you have planted, you will also understand that you cannot just cut any cucumber you bought from the market and plant it directly in the soil like we do with tomatoes to get a product. That's not how it works. And as I mentioned, I haven't used hybrid or F1 seeds either. There's no such thing. And as I said, I haven't used hybrid or F1 seeds. I used heirloom seeds. I always say that if possible, if you know a place, heirloom seeds. So make sure to collect the seeds they use every year. So, from which product can we collect seeds? I mentioned it earlier, not every flower that blooms on the cucumber plant produces fruit. Look at what you see now, like a flower. I will pluck this shortly. If the female flowers are pollinated under suitable conditions, they will turn into fruit. In plants like tomatoes and peppers, the male and female organs are not together in the same flower. You can find my video about grafting at the links at the end of this video. Look, I keep the soil moist by continuously dripping water just a little bit every day. Now, which product will we separate as seeds from this plant? The cucumber plant set aside for seeds. It is selected from healthy, disease-free, and the first growing cucumbers. As you can see here, the largest cucumber in the plant and the first one to grow is this one. That's why I will never pick this one for seeds. I will leave it aside. Because this cucumber, which represents its type well, should not be picked. And it is left to ripen thoroughly until it grows fully and turns yellow. You can pick the others except for this cucumber. When you pick it, try to pluck it about 1.5 centimeters away from the base of the cucumber, not from the bottom. How to extract seeds from cucumbers, tomatoes, and peppers. I will be publishing my video about it soon on my channel. If you found this video helpful and liked it, please don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to my channel to watch my next videos, and make sure to turn on the notification bell.